Welcome back to another episode of Steaming Pile with Lauren and Tucker. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Tucker.
And it's Monday. That's a cool thing.
Right? Yeah.
It's the Monday before elections end, which is always just a wonderful, warm feeling to start the day off with.
Yes.
And there's a part of me that's like, it doesn't feel real given we've had like the campaign forever. The primaries have gone on so long that once we get to the end of the actual election, it's like, oh, really?
Yeah, no, it's... I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like, even though this election is arguably more important, I feel like the election cycle hasn't been as intense or, like, scary or, like, exhausting as the last one was.
Yeah, I think that's yeah.
And I don't know why.
I think partially because, at least based on my observations, Biden voters really don't care. Like, part of his whole campaign, the slogan was "settle for Biden." There's not a lot of enthusiasm to be mined in like a whole side of it, and so there's not like a commitment to being very like dedicated to fighting for any one side.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what happens. It's going to be a very interesting winter. I mean,
yeah.
The fun thing is that we're on such a delay with these podcasts. I don't actually know when this one's going to come out. So it's probably going to be deep December at this point. So who knows? When this comes out, we'll be like, all bright-eyed, optimistic, like, oh, it's just another election, and sure, it's going to be an interesting winter, but, who knows, right? Who knows? And then come December, be like, wow. Wow.
We were so off base.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it'll be just from like a very, I guess, from a very weird standpoint, it's just gonna be interesting to watch and see what happens. I mean, a lot of the votes have already been cast.
Yes.
A lot of more votes will be cast tomorrow. Several states will have counted their votes, but a lot of them won't have.
Right. Yeah. Well, in the paper ballots, they can't even start until that night.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of states that are just better equipped to handle large masses of mail-in voting.
Yeah.
I know Florida is one such because they're used to it. They have a lot of mail-in votes.
Yeah, they know a thing or two. Yeah, they know a thing or two about weird elections.
Yes. Yeah. We were 4 when that happened, weren't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yep. That's gonna pale in comparison, I think. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Yeah. It'll be exciting. It'll be like, March all over again. Oh no, what's gonna happen? But
Yeah, that's been the thing is, we hear about like all of those major historical events, and I think we lose sight of what the day-to-day is like just because we understand the full scale of things. Like, I read a book once about Nazi occupation of Paris during World War II, and not that this is necessarily going to be comparable. I'm not trying to make that comparison, but it's like, it feels so much more exciting than I'm sure it was from day to day.
Yes.
And so like now it's just, everything is just exhausting all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not even on a site that gives me those, instant observations on everything, and I'm still tired.
Do you doom scroll?
Not anymore.
Very good.
Since deleting Twitter, I don't have that impulse as much because my Reddit feed is almost exclusively architecture, nature, and food.
I gotta say, I've disabled Reddit on my phone. I like that. I mean, I like Reddit. Really, the only good parts of Reddit are like the niche subs, right? Like you mentioned, the architecture stuff and what have you. But like, if you just leave the default homepage, you have to slog through a lot of just meaningless crap. And I'll tell you, I don't subscribe to doom scrolling a lot, and a lot of the times I do doom scroll, it doesn't get to me a lot. It doesn't get to me because I keep myself from being a pessimist, but I also keep myself from swinging the I'm not an optimist either by any stretch of the imagination. Sure. But I just try to keep a it's it's out of my control kind of thing. And I saw this Ask Reddit thread. Maybe you saw it too because it was on Thursday, the 29th, if I do math right. Just to contextualize it, there was a post in Ask Reddit. It was on the homepage. It had 72.4K upvotes. I know all these details because it pissed me off. And it said, what if 2020 is not just a bad year, but the start of a bad decade? And then I read the comments, and everyone was like, yeah, we're fucked. And it's like, I'm not blissfully ignorant to the world's problems.
Right.
But to be reminded like this, you throw something like that into an echo chamber like Reddit, you're going to get such like negativity. And usually there's like one or two comments like, oh, it's not all that bad, there are ways out of this. There was none of that on that thread. And,
oh, jeez.
And it bummed me out, right? Because it's very easy for me to get despondent. But then like I just got pissed off at the thread itself because that's not a question. That's not an Ask Reddit style question, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's a supposition. Yeah. That's barely a shower thought. Right? So the fact that it was there and it got 72.4 thousand upvotes, garbage. And it's not productive. It's not productive. Doom scrolling is one thing, but doom generating is completely worse. Right? It's one thing for news organizations to do it because it's like, those are the facts, whether they're biased one way or the other. It's probably, it's people wrote it without like, trying to get upvotes on a meaningless site like Reddit. I'm still salty about Reddit, by the way. Screw Reddit. I could talk for hours about why Reddit sucks, but which is funny because I still use it. But but just the existence of that thread, I have not been on Reddit since, except I think I clicked on a link on accident a couple times while I was doing Google search for other stuff because some things, it just comes up on Reddit, which is acceptable. But I have not been on the Reddit homepage, at least for 5 days now, and I don't miss it. I also don't go on Twitter like you don't. I only use it anymore to just post links to videos that I put up, which doesn't even matter because I don't think anyone who follows me cares, and if they do, they're already subscribed to me, so what's the point of Twitter anymore? Anyway, maybe I should just get rid of that as well.
It feels good. It feels real good. You're amazed. I was amazed at how much just like idle brain space was occupied by Twitter and how much idle time was occupied by it.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I got rid of that and I switched my feed to being like exclusively videos of people trying to make U-turns in 6-lane highways. Like it feels so much better because it's so much more like you mentioned Reddit had a homepage and I was like, Reddit has a homepage?
Yeah.
Because I've only ever seen like the subreddits I've subscribed to.
Mm-hmm.
So the most political one I see and the most depressing one I see is just a boring dystopia. And I'll open that occasionally, but yeah.
Yeah. No, Reddit's homepage has, as more people join Reddit, I think the average content has shifted to more of, and you see this all the time, people saying this on Reddit, it's shifting more towards like a Facebook feel. And like just the default homepage, right? The default homepage, especially like funny pics, Ask Reddit. There's one other that's escaping me, but like those four, especially pics. I think pics is the worst because that just what do you post there?
Right. Yeah.
I don't understand that subreddit at all. And so what people have done, they've co-opted into sort of a Facebook kind of thing. And I just realized my audio was clipping a little bit. And I think that and people get upset about it. And it's like, fine, get upset about it, but what goes here? No one never...
Yeah. Well, and I think that's supposed to be the purpose of mods, is to help guide a subreddit to be what it's supposed to be.
Oh.
But
the mods of the molds of default subreddits are not very good.
Yeah. Well, and it also strikes me as like there's no real standard necessarily to say like I would be better at organizing this information than you would be.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I should have the power to decide what you can post and what you can't.
Correct.
Unless I built the subreddit, but if I didn't, like again.
Yeah. And what's interesting, and I've had this problem, I guess we're going to get into it. I've had this problem with r slash videos. I used to get a lot of like video traffic from Reddit, because I posted my videos to our videos. And then it didn't occur to me, but it didn't occur to me how exactly the rule was calculated, but I got to a point where they wouldn't let me post anymore, because because I was out of ratio with other posts. Now this rule makes absolutely no sense. That's like a 10-to-1 ratio of your stuff and other stuff. And this rule makes absolutely no sense to me.
Right.
At the very core of Reddit, and this is actually, I think this is a direct quote from their page. It's okay to be okay, I'll paraphrase a little bit to make it more specific. It's okay to be a person, or it's okay to be on Reddit with a YouTube account, but it's not okay to be a YouTube account with a Reddit, right?
Yeah.
And okay, so that's certainly not what I am. Fine. The rule, let's say it's 10-to-1. It's either 9-to-1 or 10-to-1. The rule basically makes you submit more spam than you normally would in order to allow yourself to submit your own content. Which seems dumb. I understand why the rule exists, because you get a lot of crappy like text-to-speech channels or gaming channels, and just a whole bunch of stuff that just drowns the subreddit. And it kind of makes you wonder, what if Reddit instituted some kind of voting system that allowed the good content to rise and allowed the bad content to, like, drop down and be seen by hardly anybody? Wouldn't that be cool if Reddit instituted some kind of voting system?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They could have that like next to each individual post, and you could like do that with even the replies in like the comments on those posts.
That's
too,
genius.
for like the more relevant things. Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't know. If you let the if you let the people decide what they like, then it's a website curated by the people, which is kind of the whole point of Reddit. But the 9-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
And I guess in defense of that idea, it would drown sorting by new. That would be horrible. You need some kind of automation.
I do typically start on new,
Brave
just
soul.
because that's what I want. That's what I want on my feeds, and for some reason, it was a problem on Facebook. It was a problem on Instagram. Not as much on Twitter. That was like the one thing about Twitter that I did appreciate. Why is chronological so impossible?
Yep.
And like YouTube at least has the decency to make my subscription feed newest first. If I click on my subscriptions, they're listed newest first.
Yes.
But on Facebook and Instagram, for some reason, it'll be a week ago that a post went up.
Yeah.
Why is this the first time I'm seeing it?
Yeah. Instagram has started doing this real horrible thing, where it changed the way. I don't even know what you would label this feature, to be perfectly honest. So you scroll through, and then you reach the end of the new posts, and then you go past that, and you expect to see older posts, but instead you get suggested posts, which they turned on, and then they turned off, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, because you scroll, the feed stops for a little bit while it loads the older posts, and it's visual feedback to let you know that you've reached the end of things you haven't seen. It's like, I like that. Then you keep scrolling, and then you get the older stuff from the people you follow. I don't give a smooth fart about all the things that I don't follow. You know why?
That's what the explore page is for.
It's because I don't follow them.
Yeah.
My microphone stand broke, so I can do that. But I hate it. I hate it. I actually don't know if there's a setting to turn it off or not.
If there is, it's probably buried somewhere non-intuitive.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I work for a company. I don't necessarily work in that area, but I understand that there's a group of people who, when designing things, they have conversations about like the UI, about the interface, about all of that, and they make decisions based on user experience. I I don't know how it works on a company a big a scale as like Facebook or Instagram, but I'm like, what conversations are y'all having?
You gotta think it's the law of large numbers, right? So a company of that size is of course going to A/B test a lot of that stuff,
True.
and apparently it worked. So I guess more people liked it than didn't. Kept them on the site longer because that's the whole point. Because it allows you to show more ads, which is fine. But I don't mind ads. Just put them in the content that I like have agreed to look at.
Yeah.
I don't, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but it shows me a whole bunch of like, um, Tumblr screenshots.
Yes. A
Okay,
lot of the like meme pages anymore um do tend to be Tumblr screenshots.
yeah.
Uh
Because when I think of
because
comedy, I
that's
think of Tumblr.
some of the anecdotal ones are funny.
Yeah.
I've laughed at the odd ones. I have a couple saved on my phone because they still make me laugh.
Hmm.
Um but yeah, that's except mine's so curated and saturated at this point. My Instagram, both my homepage and my Explore, are not going to be an accurate reflection necessarily of just like the average user, because once I fell into the Beatles rabbit hole, I follow like probably 10% of the accounts I follow are related to that now. So that is my Explore page now. Is just pictures of them at various stages of their career and other classic rock bands like thrown into the mix.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I, it's gotta be better for someone, I guess. Oh, and have you noticed? Have you noticed? I don't know what web browser do you use?
Chrome.
Chrome. Have you noticed how they started hiding the entire URL now and just showed you the base host name?
Yes. Or you can't see the like HTTPS thing.
Yeah, all of it,
Yeah.
really, all of it. Why? Why would you do that?
Probably because the average user doesn't know what all of that other nonsense means anyway.
But but they also hide they hide the subdomain too. I don't like I understand lopping off the HTTP and the HTTPS because that's implied by a little lock symbol, and I can understand maybe lopping off the www dot. Okay, that's fine too, and maybe the question mark and everything after it because who cares about the query parameters? That's for the website, not for you. But everything else and just leaving the blank .com, you gotta know where you are. Safari does this. Safari has done this, and that makes sense on small screens like iPhones.
Mhm.
Screens are wide. Screens are massive. I don't. Okay, all right. I'm shaking my fist. I don't. Ah. Anyway,
Allegedly, yeah, no, allegedly ranting about things is cathartic, but I don't know. Like years ago, back when I still cared what the Green Brothers thought, there was a video that Hank had done where he just ranted about things for 4 minutes, and he got to the end, and he's like, "Actually, my blood pressure is higher now," and that's always stuck with me. Where it's like, I'm always torn between like the let me rant about things and be angry, and I'll feel better, and the no, I won't. I'll just be more obsessed with this. And I found that yes, if I am angry about things, I will continue to be angry. But if I cry about something, then I will get over it.
that's yeah. That's fair. That makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I've cried more since graduating college or about the same. Probably more. I'll take that back. But definitely more. But
You've cried more since graduating college than you have while you were in college.
yes. I think
Remember where
because
you went to college? Are you sure?
I do remember where I
Oh,
went to college. Yeah.
okay. All
I
right.
think the reason why is because in college, the number of things I could cry about is a very limited, specific range. Because, like, for me, it was just school
Mm-hmm.
and, dropping my car off a cliff. I cried about those things.
That yeah.
Since graduating, there's so many other things I could cry about. I could cry about my job, about my student loans, about botching potatoes in an oven, just a number of
Oh,
things.
The potato, that's worth a cry. Potatoes,
Yeah,
oh.
yeah. So, and I don't know. It's sometimes I'm reminded of like I think it was a tweet where someone's like, "This guy was crying, and then his timer went off, and he just went back to work." And I'm like, that's how it works. Cry,
That's,
and you can go back to your life.
sounds useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I don't know. I'm dead inside, so I don't know. But no, I agree.
Hmm.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's far more cathartic than ranting, I think.
Yeah.
But it's not as fun.
Yes. Well, the bad thing about ranting is I have like a tendency to want to just like break things, which was why like the damn it doll was so helpful, just because I could hit it against things. And I think it's since moving, it's somewhere in my apartment, I think. It might still be in a box. But like, because I've thrown my notebook that I use for work just across the room. And I'm like, I gotta stop doing that because eventually I'll be holding something I don't want to throw or I don't want to break.
Hmm.
And I don't want to set that precedent.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's this year has at least been useful in teaching me, what I am willing to put up with, what I'm not willing to put up with, and how to deal with the things I don't want to put up with because I need to stop flying into like very short blood rages during the day, especially when I'm just being told to do something that is a part of my job.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's you signed up for it. I mean,
Technically, yes,
yeah.
I did. I had to take anything that would give me money, and they were the thing that would give me money. So
I do the thing. You give me money. Then it's 5 o'clock. End of transaction. Yep. Ah, God. You taking Wednesday off?
no, just because this project is ridiculous. Plus, we also won't know by Wednesday.
Oh, I just I'm just in case you're hungover or something. I don't know. I figured.
Yeah, that was the thing that because I was thinking about back to last election cycle. Um, because I went to bed. Like we were in school when it happened, and I'm like, I got class in the morning. I can't stay up to watch what happens. So I went to bed. And this year I don't have cable, so I don't really have an incentive to sit and watch cable news.
Hmm.
And if I'm not on any site that's going to give me minute by minute updates, I'm just going to go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I stayed up for it. I was our whole group of friends. I uh actually afterwards it was like 3 in the morning. Couldn't have been three. I guess it was like 1 or 2 in the morning. And I drove in my four-seater car like six drunk ass people to Taco Bell. I guess five because I was driving, but like to Taco Bell, just and like got them out before they could ruin the car with bodily fluids because that was a fun night for all the wrong reasons. I don't know. Uh,
That sounds about right.
yeah, yeah. Again, it'll be an interesting winter.
Yeah.
We'll have nothing better to do than read the news, and honestly, let's not even read the news. Don't do that. Oh
Yeah.
God.
No. No. That's Yeah, no, that's been part of what I've been doing in these, waning weeks of the year is trying to figure out what I want to do next year. At least as far as making content, and I'm trying to decide if, I'm gonna pivot to books, if I'm gonna pivot to music, or what. Just because, like, I like doing movies, but I did call it my year. I didn't call it any set number of years. Um, so yeah, and that's an interesting thing, I guess, is trying to figure out, well, what am I going to fill my time with? How am I going to tell other people about that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. There is another year after this one.
Yeah, no, that.
There's another one scheduled at least.
Yeah. Well, and that's a lot of people are like, yeah, and this year will finally be over. And I'm like, this year's problems don't go away just because the
Yeah.
calendar changes.
At the very least, you could hope that it'll like feel different.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Time. Concept of just time in general. It's very weird. It's very weird
It
because
yeah.
you can't like look back at 2019 or 18 or 17 and think like, oh, this is how the flow of time felt compared to now. This is how the flow of time feels. That's like impossible to reach back and compare. So it's like maybe this is what it's supposed to feel like anyway, but also maybe not.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I've seen people talk about how, time feels like it takes forever to pass just because we haven't lived that much time. So every, like, time period proportional to the amount of time we lived, that kind of determines how fast it feels.
Sure.
So, like, majored in math, not arithmetic. So I couldn't be like, oh, yeah, I've lived, 23 times 365 days. So each day feels like, X amount. And so every year, at least this year, felt like 1/23rd of the time I've lived. So it feels a lot faster than when I was 5, and that was 20% of my life at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. And you weren't even like online recording memories, just like
Yeah,
in your head
just
for a lot of
vibing.
that. Just just chilling as an infant. Well, that looks like something I can put in my mouth. No, don't. But yeah, no, yeah. I'll tell you that really spooks me. The infant amnesia, how you do not remember anything, that's really weird. You just don't. You're just not recording memories. Same
Yeah,
like
and then
even into adulthood, times you just don't record memories. Like blackout drunk or anesthesia. You just stop recording.
yeah,
It's freaky.
yeah, and then you just have to rely on other people to tell you what happened during those times, and it's like because you have no idea, you have no frame of reference,
Mm-hmm.
and what do you do with that?
It's like, did it even happen? And this is probably like getting into like solipsistic philosophy, but like if like you only remember things that you experience because you remember them, right? But disconnecting experience from memory is
Oh,
weird, right? So if you think about when I had my wisdom teeth taken out, I was put under twilight sedation, which means I'm still like awake and aware kind of, but you don't record memory. So what did it actually like I assume like they numbed me up and stuff, but I actually had my wisdom teeth taken out while I was awake, but I wasn't online, I wasn't recording. So I didn't actually experience it. I might as well just have been like asleep, completely unconscious. I even though I was there, I wasn't really because I can't go back and remember it. So separating and that I thought about this a lot. It's not like there's any problem I'm trying to solve with it. It's just really weird. Separating experience from memory, it feels like it's one thing. You remember everything you experience, and if you don't remember it, you can fill in the gaps and assume you experienced it. But with something like that, or being blackout drunk, or something like that, where you just stop recording memory for a long period of time, and you are completely online and you're all there, except you're just not writing to disk. It just you can't go back and like know that you experienced it, even though you completely did. So have fun sleeping tonight.
comfy. It reminds me, and I only bring this up because I've watched this recently. There's like a debate that they had on the Oni Plays channel where they were talking about like, okay, so let's say you had a copy of Hitler and it's like a tiny Hitler and they're like a clone and he's like, no, a copy. And they go through like, he thinks he did all of the atrocities, but he didn't because he's a copy.
Yeah.
Would you still torture this Hitler?
No, no. You have a little pocket Hitler. Put him in your little shirt pocket, and he can give you advice throughout the day. Hey Hitler,
He
what?
can't He can't because he speaks German and we don't speak German.
You learn German for pocket Hitler, or you teach him English. It's worth the trouble,
Oh,
because
oh.
he can give you advice. So like, hey Hitler, What kind of orange juice should I buy? We should take all the orange juice and burn them to black. Oh, Pocket Hitler. Oh, Pocket Hitler. It'd be a fun time day. It'd be a sitcom, really. Me and Pocket Hitler. Or it's like Polly Pocket. You sell it. You sell little action figures.
Oh goodness.
My little Pocket Hitler.
Oh no. Yeah. No, but also speaking of baby memories, for some reason made me think of that game, Who's Your Daddy, where you have to like watch over this baby, and like you can either play as the guardian or as the baby, and the baby's whole goal is to kill itself. So it has to like, and the guardian's job is to baby proof the house by like, shoving like plastic into the outlets so they don't stick forks in it, removing all of the dangerous chemicals so the baby doesn't drink it, removing the car keys, things like that.
Sounds like fun.
It was pretty fun, at least to watch other people play, especially when the animation was just like that much bad, like where there's just kind of a pastiche where it's very poorly rendered, but that makes it even better. Like where things are just like you could see through things, the expressions are very dead, and the surfaces are kind of plastic looking.
Yeah.
The best.
Yeah. That does sound like a fun. I imagine I'd get old if you played it yourself, but watching other people play it, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't ever feel like I had the hardware necessary to support games like that. So being able to watch other people play, that was the better way forward for me.
That can't be a very taxing game, is it?
I have no idea. The only laptop I had for a while is the one I'm currently using, which I've also had for 5 going on 6 years.
Sure. Like you can't play Grand Theft Auto on it, but a baby simulator. I hope. Things got a mobile quadro in it. It should be fine, I would think. I don't know.
The equipment that we were having to run on this, and even not as like a programming student, I feel like should be enough.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I was able to. Well, I'm trying to think of like the most intense game I ever played on that laptop, and it's got to be like Civ 5, or I think I played TF2 on there at one point. But they're not. Yeah. They're designed to. Well, at least I don't know if Civ 5 is. Civ 5 I played it full, but it's not very intense. It's not a very intense game. Once you load the graphical detail into memory, it's fine. But like, I don't know. It should be able to support pretty much anything you throw at it as long as you keep it reasonable. Like low.
Oh yeah, like since graduating, I've played like Brawlhalla on it, and it functions just fine.
Yeah, well, Brawlhalla is it's a sprite-based 2D game. I think a TI-84 can render that, but
yeah, I've also recently become aware of they made Doom run on it. That meme, I had no idea that was a thing where people could just get Doom to run on anything.
Oh yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I've seen Doom run on a MacBook Touch Bar. I have seen personally Doom. I think it was Doom. It was either Doom or Quake run on an iPod Nano 2nd generation. Yes. You can load it up on there, and it's really hard to play with a click wheel, but it does work. It's amazing. Because the Doom engine, I guess, is just super easy to port, and so people do it.
Yeah, I've seen it on like treadmill screens. I've seen it on like screens within games.
Oh yeah.
It amazes me. It's things like that that make me wish I had more patience for things like that, because it's so cool. Mm-hmm. And then just to see it pop up places, I'm like, oh, it's easy. I did see someone, they took an Altoids tin and they got, I think, Pac-Man to run on it, and it was incredible, but they're like, it's awful. It burns when I hold it and try to play it because there's so much hardware wrapped up in an Altoids tin.
Mm-hmm. I've seen someone put a full Wii in, I think it was an Altoids tin.
That may be the same thing.
Yeah, it was called the Kill Me. It was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was impressive. The amount of like PCB shaving and like the jumper wires with enamel wire, that's like next level soldering. To me, at least, there are people who could do that in their sleep. But like, it's like wow, wow. So yeah, no, I though yeah the whole I guess the whole Wii modding community in general. That's just that's pretty cool.
Like I look back on the things that I built, like growing up, I'm like, it wasn't that much. And so I'm like, did I miss opportunities to like freely take apart things and just mess around with it? Because when I was watching your video on costumes, like I recognize your mom built a lot of those costumes, but I'm like, that's so much creativity and just like thought. And because like when I got costumes for Halloween, it was literally like whatever they had in the catalog. We would go to the party store in Terre Haute because that was the closest one to where I lived. We just get it there, or we'd order it from the catalog.
Mm-hmm.
And so we didn't really build costumes at all. Um, Now my brother and sister would as they got older, but like growing up, I'm like I didn't ever do it, and so sometimes I'm like I've come to terms with being like just an average person overall, and so but it's like, huh, it's
Well, it's never too late to start, right?
right, yeah,
I mean, just you're I mean, you're already most of the way there. You make videos. That's a thing, right? Um, and it really all just depends on what you're into. Like I I do stuff with computers and whatnot. That's just what I'm into. You write, you review movies. You're very media centric, and you've created things. So I mean, that's more than a lot of people can say already. So to call yourself a normal person with like all of that, is really that's like really complimentary to normal people.
yeah. No, I'm not saying it to like fish for compliments or anything, because
No, yeah,
that's like my least favorite thing too, is just like I don't know what it is, but within the last 5 years, people who just like completely back on themselves and like will resist uplifting conversations. Like I'm gentle with them, or I at least try to be, but it does. It's like, no, just listen. You're not listening to what I'm saying. Because I know that it comes from a place where they don't want to be like an assuming person. They want to be modest, but after a point, it just becomes like martyrdom. And it does make me angry, even though I recognize that they're probably not even aware of how it sounds.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's yeah. I feel like that's an overreaction to the opposite end of the spectrum,
Hmm.
uh, where you see people who are very full of themselves and you want to be nothing like that. So you resist everything in that direction. Yes.
Yeah. And I used to be the same way. Like I wouldn't tell my mom would have to tell me we're getting you new socks because I didn't want to be an imposition and
Yeah.
ask for new socks when I had worn the bottoms completely through. And so after a point, I can't remember even like when, but I think that was just like a part of growing up, was just like, no, it's okay. I'm going to ask for things. Sometimes there are still times where I will be asked, like, what do you want? What's on your mind? And it'll just be like, you turn on the lights and all the cockroach thoughts like scattered. It's like, I've never had a thought in my life. I'm sorry.
I know exactly how you feel. Yep. Yep. The cockroach thoughts.
Yeah, my next personal life goal is that when people ask for opinions, to have one rather than immediately defer and ask what the other person wants. Because I can hear myself as soon as I'm like, oh, I don't know, whatever you want to do. It's like, no, the fact that they asked me in the first place means they're open to suggestion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just decide. So that
That's
is like my next personal thing that I'm working on, is deciding things.
that's fair. That's fair. What's your favorite color, Lauren?
Purple.
Oh, see, that was easy. You're already there. You're
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
you're halfway there.
Yeah. I have come around to red. Red was never one that I like embraced, but lately I'm like, nah, it's a nice accent color when used properly. It doesn't look like a murder scene. It's just very Christmassy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Could be a murder scene though.
Could be.
Could
Be.
be.
I would not make a good murderer. I would not make a good criminal in general, probably.
Are you sure?
I haven't committed a crime beyond driving over the speed limit, at least that I'm aware of, so I can't say for sure.
I want to believe you.
No, if I don't know, I feel like I've also not been in a situation that's like required me to be a criminal, and I think by the time you realize you're a criminal, you've already broken so many laws in the meantime, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, like murder, that's just messy. Are there circumstances in which I could picture myself committing murder? Yes, I think we all can.
Oh, sure.
But like the the cold blood murder, no. Manslaughter, yes. Vehicular manslaughter, we're all one bad car decision away from vehicular manslaughter. So
That's
that's
it's true.
yeah.
That's true. Eh, it happens. It happens occasionally, you know. Eh.
Fraud on accident, probably. Theft, also on accident. Tax evasion on purpose, if I can figure out how to do that.
Oh, it's very easy. You just don't pay your taxes.
Oh,
That's
oh, of
tax
course.
evasion. You did it.
Awesome.
Congrats.
Time to switch to a cash only job.
There you go.
Because that's where they get you, is because they know what money comes in, they know how much to take out. They don't tell us how much to take out. You would think that a thing that was mandatory, they would make it clearer for us having to do it under threat of imprisonment. If we do it wrong, they put us in prison, but they don't tell us how much we owe. They're like, just guess. And if you pay too much, we'll give you some back. But if you don't pay what you're supposed to, we'll arrest you.
Oh, you always give them too little, and then they say, "Oh, you owe us this much." Then you pay it, but like you always give them too little. You don't want to give Uncle Sam a loan.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I'm just so impressed with the way my taxes are spent as well.
Yep.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, is I wouldn't care if it went to stuff that I like enjoyed, like libraries, roads.
Especially in Georgia, roads.
Yeah. Yeah. No, anytime they tore up the I-85. They tore up the I-85 while I was driving back from Virginia once, and it was just like I had to sit in a North Carolina backwoods for like 4 extra hours. And I was sitting there and there's just like a line of cars and there's no space on these roads at all. And I'm just stuck here listening to Sergeant Pepper surrounded by Confederate flags and I'm like, I'm a little uncomfortable. I want to go home.
uh, yeah. Well, that's glad you made it out of there alive.
I know, yeah. And then I could come back to Georgia where I was only surrounded by Confederate flags on one side.
There you go. There you go. That's an upgrade.
Moderately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I like Georgia and I try to give southern states some benefit because I recognize that there are people who do live down here who aren't a part of the like stereotypes about all of it, and I recognize that there are terrible people in every state you go to. um so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And they got good sweet tea.
Yes.
Speaking of, did you know, and I don't know if this is everywhere, but it's here. Walgreens is doing 2-for-1 Arizona iced tea. This is going to be what kills me. Because, I mean,
That's Arizona iced tea is cheaper than water.
yeah. So, right? It's 2 for $1, right? Like
Yeah.
it's normally two
Yeah.
for $2. Because
Oh my gosh,
the
that's
price,
like
yeah, the price is on the can dough, but it like just if you get you're getting a free Arizona iced tea. So
wow.
so
I can't
if this is what kills me. This is what's going to end me. Just
I can't
overdosing.
remember. I can't remember the time when drinks cost under $1.
Here we are. For some reason, Walgreens is doing it.
Wow.
And it's like Walgreens is the only place, I guess, in walking distance from me that stays open till midnight, which is
Mm.
great because the only thing I need that late is like a snack or something. Because I don't keep I tried my best not to keep snacks around here, but sometimes it's like gosh darn it, I would really like I don't know something I don't know
Yeah, no, I agree.
yeah.
There was a time where I didn't keep snacks in the apartment. Um, but if I would like buy a bag of Doritos from the gas station, and it had been like 3 months since I had one, I finally would understand what that 14th century peasant would feel like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah. That's just So if you're nearby a Walgreens, this is not the sponsor segment, but if you're nearby a Walgreens, and you're like, I am thirsty. What should I have? Maybe the answer is 2 Arizona iced teas for the price of one, because that is a deal that you can't beat.
And that is a deal only guaranteed today, November 2nd.
Oh
Whenever this
yeah.
goes up and whenever you hear that, we are not liable for you having to buy full priced Arizona iced tea.
Even then, it's not bad. It's not expensive. It's not Snapple. Oh, Snapple! They had the audacity to switch to plastic. Who do they think they are?
I thought that was their whole thing, is that they had glass bottles and it was like nice.
It was. Oh, Snapple's still very good, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, Lauren. It really frosts my flakes. You have the best stuff on earth. You can't find it. You can't find regular lemon Snapple. You know what you can find? Half and half Snapple, peach Snapple, kiwi strawberry Snapple, probably. You put any fruit in Snapple, and I would believe you. That's something they have. But you can't find the regular old original lemon Snapple, which is the best Snapple. Where did they all go? I don't know. Were people just not buying them? I find that hard to believe because it's delicious.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, speaking of things that just like go missing from grocery stores. So my one vice is like Pepsi Zero and like Diet Mountain Dew.
Sure.
Those are that's I it's unhealthy. But Kroger used to have it in like 12-pack can boxes. They're not there anymore. And I don't know where they are. Not at Target.
Huh.
And there's, yeah, like not at gas stations. It's just all like the regular Pepsi, regular Mountain Dew, and it's confusing. That's why I have a bottle, is because those are the only kinds we can find. And
Interesting.
I don't know if this is like the sign, but if it is the sign to quit drinking it, I'm going to ignore it and find substitutes.
That's the spirit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's delicious. It's delicious, especially Mountain Dew.
Oh, yeah. No, I was sitting at my dining room table and the lights were off, and it has a nice faint glow to it that I
Oh,
do. It makes me happy because it's radioactive.
hey, that's how you grow tough bones, isn't it? Is that
No, actually, quite the opposites.
ah?
Yeah,
Oops.
because uh, I don't know if no, it is. So radium used to be used for watch faces because it would glow in the dark, and so there used to be a whole job, and there would be these women who would paint watch faces with this radium. But radium is like toxic, and so they would literally have their jaws disintegrate, and they would basically decay from the inside out because it was just so toxic. And they had to fight to get like compensated for the fact that they were doing this work and their bodies were decaying.
Yikes.
Yeah, no, there's a really good book about it called The Radium Girls, and it was just horrifying. Like, yeah, the whole jaw disintegrating. Cool.
That's a big yikes.
Mhm.
Huh. Okay. Well, let's not do that anymore. Let's
Yeah.
hope.
I want to say there was like a whole line of, maybe not a whole line, but like a whole set of like dishware and serving dishes and silverware that had been painted with the radium and so glowed in the dark.
Ooh. And yet, killed everything that came nearby.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is it worth the glowing plates? Maybe. They might have been pretty. I don't know.
They're pretty. They've got like that kind of ghost light look to it. I also don't know if these are just like effects or if this is the glow that they have. I want to believe it's the real glow that they had.
Well, then go ahead, believe it.
Yeah. These aren't the kind of beliefs that we need to worry about the consequences for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless you own the plates. Now, is it glowing safely or is it glowing jaw disintegratingly? Like, what's the story on these plates? Or are they possessed plates?
That's also important. Yeah. We watched The Conjuring and...
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, that was... I really enjoyed it, which was fine, except for that night was when Tropical Storm Zeta passed through the north of Georgia.
Ooh.
And so in the middle of the night, my printer turns on and runs through its startup cycle.
No scarier sounds.
No thanks. And like, I sleep with my bedroom door open because I have cats and I want to make sure that they're not banging on it all night.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm at least able to be like, you know what? I can sleep tonight because this is all demons and stuff. I don't play around with that. I'm fine.
Yeah.
But it's, no, it's just like, no.
Everyone gangster till their printer starts being possessed.
Yeah.
What would a possessed printer even do? Print spooky messages? Okay.
People who have hacked like their neighbors' printers and have done that whole thing.
Oh, printers are hilariously insecure.
Yeah, everything's hilariously insecure.
Yeah, but printers are like already at a baseline trash. Printers suck. Why doesn't Apple make a printer? They do it right, I hope. Or is there maybe just no way to do... No, Apple did make a printer. Remember? Of course you don't remember, because you weren't alive yet, neither was I. But they made a laser printer. They were some of the first laser printers. Why don't they make printers now? What would an Apple printer look like? How would that fit into their aesthetic? I don't know that it would. Maybe this is a bad idea.
I think it would look like the PS5, honestly.
No, it wouldn't look so...
PS5 and laid it on its side.
Oh, yeah, maybe. They would do it right. No one else does it right. I have yet to meet a printer that I liked.
I like HP printers, okay.
Really?
Yeah.
And this is just I'm not ragging on any specific printer, but like just printers in general, they have this problem where they're like everything outside of the print carriage is very simple hardware, right? You got motors, and then you have an onboard computer of varying complexity that controls the print carriage and interfaces with the outside world. That interface with the outside world, it's not that hard. This is a solved problem. Every time I go in, like networked printers especially, oh my god, networked printers.
Oh yeah, right? That was out of college.
Yeah, my printer's over Wi-Fi, okay? I'd have it over Ethernet, but it doesn't have an Ethernet port. That was the next model up. I don't understand why. But anyway, so my printer's over Wi-Fi. Sometimes when you go to print to it, it's like, what printer? Where's the printer? Yeah. And I go to the printer, it's like, yeah, dude, I'm connected. What's up? I go back to the computer, it's like, I have no idea who that guy is. So you got to re-add the printer. And it's like, dude, if you know where on the network the printer is, you talk to the printer. In one of the many myriad of standards, there are standards. You just talk to it, and you give it the message, you give it the file, usually in PostScript, and it just prints it. That's how printers work. Over the network, over anything, over USB. It doesn't matter. This is the third rant of this podcast, but I don't understand why printers are so hard to set up, maintain. I just work. Just it's a simple machine outside of the print carriage. And scanning is even worse because some print drivers just have really poor support for scanning, and I don't want to have to install like the HP scanning program. Windows has a built-in scanning program just fine. Why can't I use that? It's a standard. Everything can talk to you. That's how it works. Anyway, okay, enough. I'm fine. Everything's
I
fine.
no, I appreciate that this episode has been like very angry. I think we're getting better at like narrowing in on themes just because we're getting better at like here's a conversation thread and here's what's connected to it.
Yes.
'Cause, yeah, no, it's yell about technology. I do think we've reached critical mass for a lot of things, and because time moves so much faster, just like it feels like it does, because like television, we had television for like 60 years.
Yeah.
It's kind of just dying because we're all kind of just sick of it.
Good riddance.
Social media, 25 years, we're sick of it.
Yep.
Just
25
in
years.
general. I don't know how old MySpace is.
The internet's probably 25 years old.
Well, it depends on when Al Gore invented it.
Ooh, good point.
That's why they're called algorithms.
That's a true fact.
Yes.
That's I agree. That is 100% accurate, and I'm glad you brought that up. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see what makes it into 2020 to 2020s. If it's the start of a bad decade or not, and like just see well, I don't think TV will last another 10 years. Social media will, but it'd be interesting to see which social media platforms do.
I think part of it may just be the social medias that like stay in their lanes. Like, because honestly, I see YouTube maybe another 10 years at least for YouTube, so it may not last that much longer. Depends on if it branches out beyond video platforming or if it just kind of narrows in on that, focuses on refining that. But as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter kind of become the same thing, they will either consolidate or one of them will die.
Oh, yeah, they'll never consolidate. That sounds illegal. Yeah, there are probably many laws like, oh, what if Facebook and Google merged? Everyone would be like, please don't. Please don't. I don't want the Zuck to have more data than he already has on me, and Google knows everything. So I'd rather just I'm okay with trusting Google. I get that it's Google, but I'd rather Facebook has this spookiness around it.
It does.
Yeah. I don't know. I wonder if anyone ever assumed Facebook was safe. Or just, I guess people just never thought about it.
Yeah. Which, again, that's what makes the social network interesting, because that was how we perceived Facebook 10 years ago. And how they chose to dramatize Mark Zuckerberg then. And he hadn't fully, like, transformed into the robot lizard who had to testify before Congress.
Yes. I think if he was a robot lizard, that movie would have been very different. I don't think it would have been good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a good movie, though. Such a good movie. Very good. Very good.
Talking about doing a sequel, which could be interesting.
Ooh. Written by Sorkin?
Yes.
Take my money.
Yeah. I think it's either Fincher wants to do it or Sorkin said he wants to do it, and they're kind of just like, we're waiting for the other person to say go, and then we'll do it.
Yeah. No. Let's do it. I'll watch it. I'll give you my money. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Social Network, very special movie, and what I think what makes Aaron Sorkin's writing very unique is that because he's a playwright, so he's like a lot of the stuff he writes is very much like a stage play, but
which I love.
Yeah,
I love efficient dialogue like that.
Yeah, so it's not like how people act in the real world, unfortunately. But like it's still very entertaining to watch, and it's very like it ticks all the boxes in your brain. I'm not sure what the list is, but it like feels like it's hitting all the points of like what I want out of good dialogue. It's like, yeah, good stuff. That's the good stuff. So yeah, no, I worship at the altar of Sorkin.
Yeah, I've seen him more on like the masterclass ads because I would get a lot of his masterclass ads.
Mm-hmm. That might be one worth taking, actually. I'd consider taking the Sorkin masterclass. Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be really good.
Oh yeah.
Do the Aaron Sorkin walk and talk. That's not Sorkin's thing, but he writes for it very well.
He does. Yeah. I always associate it with his stuff.
It's a hallmark of Sorkin. Again, if you haven't seen it, you should watch The Newsroom. It's amazing.
I've seen a couple episodes of it, yeah.
Okay, you should see all of them. It's it's good. It's so good. It's very good. It's easily the best thing HBO has ever canceled, and it's just so good. I actually recently rewatched it. Still holds up. And as you're watching it, you just gotta keep in mind this aired in like 2011 and 2012. Like it's crazy. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Like the show opens on the BP oil spill. Remember that? That was in 2010. Yeah. And then the next big thing, I think, the assassination attempt on Gabrielle Giffords, and then there was the 2012 midterm. What's at the end of season 1, I think? The end of season 2 is the 2012 election, Obama and Romney, but I don't remember what was at the end of season 1. Oh, it had to have been the primaries, because episode 9 they were trying to win get a debate on ACN. Watch the show. Watch.
Yeah. No, right now I'm watching Emily in Paris, and it is not good.
Okay, well then ditch it.
But see, because I like it because it's garbage, and sometimes I need just inane, mindless garbage.
That's fair. Then offset it with The Newsroom, because it's the opposite of that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Emily in Paris is what I had on in the background when I was just like trying to focus on the guitar, but I still needed like sound because I also think I have a noise addiction to some extent.
Oh, me too. Yeah, no, I feel that.
Yeah.
It's bad. The fact that you just need constant stimulation and you can't like sit in silence. But what are you going to do? Stare at the ceiling, think of your thoughts? No, screw that.
But the thing is I do have moments where I completely like shut down everything. Like there was one weekend we even had a friend over, and I finished with work, and I'm like, I just need to ground myself for a bit, and I like took off my slippers and I laid down face down on the carpet for just like 10 minutes. I don't know how long I was down there.
Sometimes that's the most comfortable place. Yeah. I'm not above it. Literally, I lay on the floor sometimes. I don't know about face down. That's a bit extreme, but sometimes it's just comfortable. It's just like I don't want to go like all the way to the couch or like to bed, so I just choose the ground, and it's like that's good enough. It's flat. That's all I need.
Speaking of all we need, what does our sponsor say we need?
Well, I think we're in for a treat because this is a very fun sponsor.
Oh.
This episode's Steaming Pile is brought to you by The World of Boarcraft, the exciting new online RPG all about pig farming. Yes, friends, that's right. Compete with your friends across the magical land we call Internet to grow the biggest sow in all the land. All the fun of pig farming with none of the smell. All the pigs are 100% anatomically correct for the most realistic gameplay. Join our global leaderboard and try to dethrone our current champion, David Cameron. Again, all the pigs are 100% anatomically correct, and it's not illegal if it's virtual, so sign up today for World of Boarcraft today, folks, and get 20 extra coins to buy your feed and farm with. World of Boarcraft, play today.
Wow.
Again, someone in a focus group. Oh, that'll look good on Instagram. Oh yes, World of Warcraft. I'll play that game.
I mean, we've transcended beyond Farmville, but at the same time, farming simulators are very in.
Oh my god, Farmville. The Facebook game, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that game.
Son of Farmville.
Ah,
World of Warcraft.
not even the same class. Not even the same. This is like
Oh no.
highly detailed 3D graphics and physics. The physics in this game. They sent a preview copy to me. Just the physics of this game. It's weird. It's weird how accurate the physics in this game. Pig physics. Someone got a PhD in it. I don't know. Love me some pig physics. Anyway. Yeah, that's the sponsor.
Wow.
Hope you're happy.
Oh no, I'm ecstatic. That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Exquisite. I do love the generosity of World of Warcraft. Yeah, but no. Who knew that at the bottom of the pile would be pig physics?
Well, I mean, it's better than furry porn, but in a way, isn't it the same thing?
It is. It really is.
Deep down, we know that's just what all things have evolved to. Doing animals. Good night, everybody.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. This has been Steaming Pile with Lauren and Tucker. I've been Lauren.
And I've been Tucker.
We'll see you next time. Gonna go back to grad school for my PhD in pig physics.